Went to school for photography. I went to Montana State University in Bozeman, Montana. Originally, when I went to school, it was all about, the vision originally was to be a cinematographer, actually. So I ended up getting 2 degrees. I got a degree in cinematography and photography both at MSU. And then when I graduated, it was LA or New York, and I like pick one, you know. So I ended up going to New York. Gradually just started meeting more and more people. I apprenticed with a good wedding photographer. His name is Tom Rollo, who lives in Florida now. He's a great guy. And that's sort of like where I really learned the basics of wedding photography. And he could see that I had an eye right off the bat, and he just started booking me more and more. And then after that, I met Sarah Marians and Elizabeth Beskin. That was really like when digital was first happening and film was sort of on its way out. Most wedding photographers had been shooting medium format film, and I had shot some of that back in Montana for friends getting married and such, but digital was like the next thing, you know? And that was kind of like a big thing in the studio at that point, because I was the new guy and I was making all these crazy killer images, and everybody was like a little bit threatened, I think, by me, but it was all good. And I do other kinds of photography besides weddings. So during the week, you know, I do a lot of weddings and parties on the weekends, but during the week I do some fashion, I do some jewelry work, I do some architectural stuff. I'm kind of anywhere I can put lights and make beautiful pictures, I like to do that, you know? And it's just very easy when you're doing fashion because everybody knows their job, and there's a makeup artist who's doing their job, and the model's doing their job, and you know, once in a while you give a little bit of direction, but they just hit it, you know? They're like boom, 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 and every shot's pretty much a winner. That really helped me craft like what kind of poses, what kind of angles to shoot my couples, you know, because I know what looks good on models, so that translates to how do you make, you know, more real people look good. One of the things I like about wedding photography as opposed to fashion photography, as opposed to architectural or jewelry photography, is it's a challenge. It's a challenge because you only have a certain amount of time. It's your wedding day. You got to get all the pictures, and you got to get them like right now. When I first arrive at a wedding, it's right into the detail shots of all the jewelry, the dress, the flowers, the shoes, any invitations, the rings, of course. It's a great idea to have an invitation and the rings in the room with the bride, all the rings too. I get out the macro lens and I make a little still life, and I document all those little details that you thought about for so many hours, painstaking, you know, dress fittings that you've been to, getting the perfect dress, and I'll lay it all out, and I'll put on sort of my product photographer hat for a minute or two there, and get all that stuff photographed beautifully for you. My second shooters are there to take the beautiful journalistic shots. That's how I look at it. I'm focused on making the artistic portraiture that really is like these gorgeous, you know, frameable, beautiful pictures. And I want my second shooters to do sort of the opposite of that. Just tell the story more in the background, behind the scenes, you know. While I'm taking pictures, there might be, you know, a little girl tying her shoe off to the side, or you know, some little moment between people, just, you know, laughing at something, because weddings are joyous occasions. That's why I keep coming back, you know. It's hard to put into words, but I really want to do something that I've never done before for each one of my clients if I can. What could I do today that I haven't done before that would be absolutely breathtaking for my client today, you know? Or what about this client would say something in this location versus that location? Or any place that speaks to you as a couple, like where did you meet? Let's go there. Let's do an engagement shoot on the street around there, and let's just see what happens as we walk around, because to me, the best thing about the engagement shoot is getting to meet you guys and getting a feel for who you are and how you met and all that stuff. You know, I want you to feel like we're friends already when I arrive at your wedding, and that you already know me, and it's just like totally fluid and easy. So obviously there's a couple like really crazy ones in my portfolio you might have seen, like the underwater work that I do. That's like, you know, something that's very different probably to what you've normally seen. And it requires a completely different shoot day. So if you want to do something like that, that first of all is not in your wedding day. That's 3 or 4 hours of work between us on a completely different day, usually months before or after your wedding. Some other things that come to mind: I did a shot once with a red umbrella in the snow, and it was like one of the coldest days of the entire year. I think it was Samantha and Mark, and man, they were troopers. I mean, it was so cold. We got outside, you could see your breath. It was probably like 5 degrees out, and she still like went for it, you know? So I just love my clients so much because They absolutely do what they need to do so that we can get the shots we need to get.